Now today I'm going to be showing you how to throw a playing card behind your back and catch it in the other hand. You can use this as a magic effect as well, and I'll teach you how to do that at the end of the video. So I really hope you guys like throwing playing cards, magic effects, and cardistry, which this video has all of them in one. Super cool. So speaking of playing cards, if you want the deck that I used right here, the entry 03s, the Peppers, you can check that out for 10% off in the description below with code cardperfectmagician. But without any further ado, let's get into this video right now. First, you're just going to grab a card. You can just slide it off at this point. Put it in this hand. Now, the way you're going to hold the card is you're going to have your middle and ring on the bottom of the face, and then your thumb on the other side. Now, your index finger is going to hit the top left corner, which would be the one without a value or an indice. Okay? That's on this top left corner. Or I guess if you have it face up, then it will be the one with the value. So I do mine face down. I like the way it looks when it's spinning. So what you're going to actually do is you're going to keep your pinky off and you're going to start it like this, okay? So it should be basically flat to your fingers, okay? You do not want to have it like this to where the long edge is all the way over here, okay? You want it spun this way. The reason that is because the best way to get it to fly is most accurately and for as long. And every other thing that you need for throwing playing cards is you need it to spin. That is the key to throwing playing cards. The amount of spins that you get increases every possible good thing for throwing playing cards. And this is one that you get a lot of spin out of. So what you're actually going to do is you're going to actually spin it in multiple ways. First is going to be your index finger. You're going to pull back with your index finger. So as you're throwing it, where your index finger goes, that'll give it a little bit more push. The next one is your wrist. So your wrist will go, so at the same time your wrist is turning, your index finger is turning, and that'll give it even more. So you're starting from back here, that's almost a half turn, and now you're at over a full turn with only those two. And the last one, of course, will be the rest from your elbow down, and if you are really getting into it, all the way up to your shoulder. So that will actually be the motion, okay? The other thing, you want to keep this to the sky. The back, you can never see the face unless you're doing it face up. But whatever side you start with that's up, you should never see anything else. You want to keep it as flat as possible when doing this, unless you're trying to angle it to go different directions, but I'll talk about that in another video. So, when it comes to this, you're going to come around backwards, and see, even when I'm coming around back this way, it still is face down the entire time. It never rotates. I'm coming back here. Now I'm going to turn around for this part so you can actually see what's happening. I'll turn around this way. I'm going to come around here, and once I get to here, I'm just going to move from here sideways. I'm keeping it level the whole time, and I'm staying here sideways. Now, once I get to this far side, and I'm on over here, so I'm going to come this way, I have my wrist curled in. So that way, when I'm going to start here, I'm going to come around, and once I get to here, I'm going to start curling my wrist. So that once my arm's going to hit, my arm's going to hit is part of the motion. That's one motion, 2, and 3. That's all 3 motions. So you're going to come around this way, and go 1, 2, 3. And at that point, you'll want to angle it slightly. Because if you just keep it flat, it'll go flat, and plus gravity, that means it'll go slightly down. And you don't want to go from here and go like this. You want to be able to go slightly up. Now you'll have the opportunity to come underneath and catch it, which I'll get to in a second. So, you're going to come under, around, down, and flick. And what that'll look like is that. Now clearly I'm trying to keep it on camera, so let's see if I can do that while looking at the camera. Okay, I'm not going to look at the camera this time. There we go. So when you're not looking at the camera, it does make it a lot easier to be able to catch things. So watch the card, keep your eye on the card. That should have been an obvious one, but makes it a lot easier when you actually look at the card. So make sure you're looking at that while you're doing this move. Now, when it comes to actually catching it, there's 2 ways to catch it. You can either catch it in your offhand or your deck hand, okay? Both ways work beautifully. So clearly, when it comes to catching it in your offhand, that's super simple. Now when it comes to catching in the deckhand, that gets a little bit more tricky. And let me explain. When you're catching it in the deckhand, you can either catch it on the top of the deck, or my personal favorite, which is what I do the majority of the time, I do a Charlier cut. Because then it's the same thing as like if you're going to do backdrop, or if you're trying to do instant replay. It's anything along those lines where you're getting it and catching it in the center of a Charlier cut. So in this case, I'm going to do this first, do my Charlier cut once I move this off. So as I'm coming back here, I do my Charlier cut. That way, I can now catch it in the center of it. Okay? Now, it probably won't land perfectly in there because you can't predict how many spins it's going to be unless you're honestly just freakishly amazing. But it's going to be super simple, and even if it lands sideways in the Charlier cut, it's still quite easy to catch it, right? So no problem with that. Just make sure you keep your fingers open, give it a little bit more to hold on to. So that's how you are going to catch it. Now, when it actually comes to actually getting it to this hand, we'll go with that first and then the magic trick afterwards. You can either do that right there, or you can do a top shot, which I have not taught on the channel yet, but I will get to teaching that eventually. That's when you just shoot the top card off, but need to work on that a little bit more to make sure it's perfect before I teach it to you. So when it comes to hot shot, I do have a tutorial on it, so if you want a tutorial on that, or backdrop, or instant replay, I do have tutorials on all of them, and you can check them all out in the description, and head over there and get some cool tutorials on that from this guy. Now when it comes to the magic effect, it's a very, very simple effect, okay? Nothing that you're going to be like, oh wow, I can't believe that's how it happened, right? Unless you're not a magician, then you might not know, okay? So, add card, right? And then you turn over the add card, you do the same thing, you can throw it behind your back and catch it as if it's like some portal, and then it turns into the jack, right? So clearly, it's a simple effect. It's the same thing as the way that I do it for the back palm change. So you have the 5 of spades, and then you use the back palm instead of that, and then it changes into the jack of clubs, right? I don't know why it keeps on being the jack of clubs, but that's important. So it's the same principle. You're simply doing a double lift, right? So it doesn't matter what card you choose. So let's say it's this one right here. Clearly, I'm not going to actually use this card first because that was going to be the 7 of clubs. I'm going to do a double lift, show the 5 of spades, turn them both over, and then just grab this card. So clearly, the whole thing's already done. At this point, the behind the back is just for fun. It's just a way to it's just the presentation of the actual change. So if you want to do the back palm, if you want to do the front to back palm where you show both sides, if you want to do behind the back card throw, I don't care how you do it. There's so many ways. It's just another fun way to present something that you didn't have in your repertoire before. And again, if you want to know how to do the back palm or the front to back palm where you show both sides, I have taught all of that. So again, tutorials in the description below. And again, please make sure to subscribe to the channel because I come out with tutorials like this every single week. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is Card Perfect, signing off.